On today's collectible spot, we are having a look at the NJCroce. This is the Justice League 8-inch bendable Wonder Woman. Just recently having a look at the Superman, also want to have a look at Wonder Woman, which basically covers the Trinity, as we've already had a look at Batman in a previous video. Box-wise, it's the exact same as what we got with the Man of Steel, featuring Justice League down below, and at the side, 8-inch bendable figure, which also features Wonder Woman there on the spine of the box as well. The back has some really nice artwork of New 52 costumes Wonder Woman, even though a costume she doesn't wear anymore. It was actually one of my favorite costumes of the Amazonian. Down below we have NJCroce Company Inc., along with their address and website, www.njcroce.com, sculpting by Magic Wand Studios. There's your box. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're going to get a better look at the NJCroce Justice League 8-inch bendable Wonder Woman. There's more anyway, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. With Wonder Woman out of packaging, let's get a better look now at the figure. Now, I mentioned this before with the Superman. Other than really the obvious holes on the back of the figure, there's very little to indicate here that the figure is comprised of a bendable rubber. She's bendable in the sense that she's got the wireframe running along the back, but from the front, the sculpt is so good, I would almost consider it more a plastic figure until I would have picked it up and held it in hand. Let's compare her next to the Man of Steel that we've already had a look at. Superman's just a little bit taller, just about a head taller than Wonder Woman here. Both are depicting the superheroes in their New 52 costumes, which again is one of my go-to favorite looks in recent memory. Of course, classic looks will go a long way, but I thought the New 52 designs were pretty cool as well. Let's move Superman out of the way. And actually no, wait, we won't move Superman out of the way just yet. I guess the one thing that I would have changed on Wonder Woman is probably something, and the reasoning why I brought Superman back into the picture is the coloring. I like the coloring on the Superman's flesh tone. I find Wonder Woman is maybe slightly too pink, or slightly too... I think it could have afforded just a lighter flesh tone. Closer to Superman would have been ideal. What she ends up getting is almost a little bit more red or peachy colored in complexion. Let's have a look at her face, though, because I think her face is pretty good, actually. It rivals some of the, I mentioned this before as well in Superman's review, but I think it rivals some of the really good figures that we're getting in the market as well. So it's certainly a testament to NJCroce for giving us really cool collectible figures that aren't just plastic figures, they're getting into a different medium altogether. The coloring is nice on Wonder Woman. The coloring is a little muted, as I noted with the Superman figure. So things such as the stars and stuff aren't the most pristine outlined, and they're not very crisp. They get a little bit more of a softer look looking against the outfit that she's wearing here. The silver on her gauntlets is quite nice too, as well as the silver trim that finishes us off rather nicely here with an eagle crest that's right at the top of her bodice. Yeah, I do quite like her head sculpt. It's actually, it's really done well. She's got her little lasso on the side, although it cannot be removed. At least they gave it just enough of its own separation that it looks like its own thing, as opposed to just sculpting it right to her legs, so I like that. Posability on Wonder Woman, she actually gets away a little easier with some of her posability as one would expect to find, because the figure's legs and arms, by comparing to, say, Superman once again, the legs and arms are much thinner, so of course you get a little bit more flexibility with what you can do with the wire frame. Whereas Superman could really only bend like the arms and in the knees, Wonder Woman actually has a considerable more bendable possibilities, because as you can see, you can hinge the arms out, somewhat forward actually. You can almost have her flexing really if you wanted to. One of the benefits of having these as wireframes. Sure, yeah, if you bend it too much and you kind of squish the bicep, it doesn't look like it flows. It looks a little too curvy. So like you want to just kind of straighten the arm out and bend it separately, again, it will look a little bit more rubbery, like an Elastic Man kind of body. But still, you know, the fact that you can bend it as you can is really neat, having a pretty cool collectible, also having lots of posability too. Her head doesn't, well, it hinges a little bit back and forth, but at least unlike Superman, she's got a little bit more extra give here in the torso portion. Legs, well, don't get me started on the legs. The legs at least have a lot more posability. As you can see, you can split the legs, and more importantly, you can bend the knees. I think a little bit more than what you could bend at Superman. Essentially, mileage may vary from figure to figure. Basically, the bigger the figure is, the little bit less posability you might get from it. But the fact that you can essentially have a top to bottom wire framed figure certainly opens the doors to possibilities for displaying her. I think at the end of the day, how I might just end up displaying her is maybe just kind of bend the arm like so and have one arm flexed. I think that's kind of cool. I like that. Pair that up with the Superman that we've already had a look at and the Batman. Not to mention the other League members that NJCroce has also produced. Yeah, it's pretty cool to have these on display because it's not just your run-of-the-mill plastic figures. Plastic figures may have more posability, but I think what NJCroce brings to the table is really ideal sculpts. I think that's really where they exceed. Not to mention, of course, they're churning out a ton of different different licensed things, from Simpsons, of course, to the the Simpsons. We've got the DC Comics, and also as well that we've looked at on this channel, they've also have vehicles. The old vehicles. Spot looked at the classic Batmobile that had a little Batman and Robin that sat in the front. They also do an animated series Batmobile, and they've done the ones from even Arkham games too, which we will eventually look at on this channel as well. In the meantime, not a bad looking figure. If you want to call it a figure, even though it's technically a wire-framed bendable figure, I'd still like to consider this a figure nonetheless. Today's collectible spot, we were looking at the NJCroce. This was the Justice League 8-inch bendable Wonder Woman. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more videos heading your way as well. Thanks for watching. See you next time.